that they want, and depending on what is at stake for them, and obviously, and very importantly, on the economic circumstances of their business and on the economic circumstances of the cost of the litigation involved. Probably, and I would add to that, the amount at stake in the litigation. So the Companies Tribunal falls under the Department of Trade, Industry and Commerce, and the DTI has a very extensive mandate to increase foreign direct investment and grow the South African economy. As I've already mentioned, one of the key concerns of foreign investors and those who want to do business in South Africa is the resolution of disputes. Last year, South Africa hosted the BRICS forum, and we have hosted it previously, and it also has been held in the other jurisdiction of the BRICS countries. Last year, we also had many countries join as BRICS. So prior to this, and in the build-up and the existence of BRICS in the past couple of years, there has been a very strong focus on the dispute resolution mechanism. And I think there has been a very strong acceptance of the need to have an adequate dispute resolution mechanism, considering the fact that the creation of BRICS is now establishing and promoting business to be done between various countries, and South Africa is the only country in the whole of Africa that is part of BRICS. So as I've mentioned, the Arbitration Foundation was established in Johannesburg. It has now been expanded, I think, into Kenya, if I'm not mistaken. One of the other initiatives of BRICS is that the China Law Society, for approximately 7 years, hosted an exchange program between lawyers from across the African country and the China Law Society. It is a very nice program where if you are accepted to it, you get to go to China. You are hosted by the different law societies. You learn a lot about the legal system. Interestingly, the Arbitration Foundation of Southern Africa and China has established, KJAC, the China-Africa Joint Arbitration Foundation. Because of China's Belt and Road Initiative and its drive and focus to develop its economic relationships with African countries and fund the economic and infrastructure development in these countries, KJAC was established. Again, KJAC's headquarters is at the ASA building here in Johannesburg, as well as in Shenzhen in China. And so I think that indicates that ADR is being embraced as a key dispute resolution mechanism. Its benefits are recognized, particularly in the context where we have business being done by companies from the different jurisdictions. One of the elements of this, which would probably be of relevance to disputes before the Companies Tribunal, apart from obviously the broad implications of ADR, is that there would be, and there are a lot of companies that look for localization partners with South African companies. Again, when we look at it from that perspective, when disputes ordinarily arise, South African companies would, doing business with European countries or other countries, has the mechanism available of the International Court of Arbitration, which is based in London. The challenge with that is it is very expensive, and because of the fact and the legal expertise, it comes with a very complex and factual matrix or operational matrix in terms of the legal procedure, and often that translates into the foreign companies getting access to justice, while the local South African companies are then prejudiced. But when we look at the Companies Tribunal, when we look at AXA, when we look at the other ADR dispute resolution fora that are available, it becomes very clear that it is important for South African companies, but it is also important for us to increase the foreign direct investment in South Africa and encourage other businesses from abroad to do business with South African companies. I think the other aspect to mention is the Africa Free Trade Continental Agreement, something again which the Companies Tribunal has focused on and which the Department of Trade Industry and Commerce also has focused on, because of the expansion it has facilitated for I like to explain it easily. Our job is to develop a litigation business to be done broadly between and members of the African from case to case and to make it more easily. I think my suggestion is that it would definitely be useful to first consider if ADR is a more one of the things that they are considering is to make a uniform set of rules so that disputes across Africa can be arbitrated according to that uniform set of rules, particularly so that practitioners from all African countries can comfortably appear and deal with those disputes that are being or that will arise in the course of business between the different countries. Now, I think in parting, what I would like to simply say is that as advocates, as I like to explain it easily, our job is to develop a litigation strategy for a client. And this is something which differs from case to case, but I think my suggestion is that it would definitely be useful to first consider if ADR is a more suitable option than litigation in the context of a matter that could be dealt with and disposed of between any of the arbitration forum, particularly the company's tribunal. It is something that I would very strongly advocate and recommend. Obviously, there would be some disputes that arise in the course of litigation that cannot go before the company's tribunal or that cannot be properly or adequately arbitrated even. And there is a need for the court to make a final pronouncement upon it. In that case, ADR would not be suitable, but my parting remark would be that as a practitioner and a litigator, it is definitely something I would recommend to clients because of the various advantages of it, but also I think because it really would, for many clients, dispense access to justice in the true sense of the word and allow them to resolve their dispute, but still come out of it with their businesses intact. Thank you.
Advocate Kerusha Pillay. She gave the ADR mechanism an international perspective by locating it within the African continent and internationally. What emerged from her presentation is very clear that there's a great deal of uncertainty with litigation. It takes a lot of time. It takes money, and it can also ruin relationships. And if you want to explore a mechanism that will save you time, money, and also build relationships, perhaps you want to explore ADR. Thank you very much, Advocate Pillay. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we move to the next speaker of the day. That's Mr. Ibrahim Patelia. Before I introduce Mr. Ibrahim Patelia, I just want to point out that I suppose that those in attendance here in person and also virtually would be members of the legal profession. Some of them, or some of us, have not had an opportunity to interact with the company's tribunal. Now, question is, are we here like turkeys voting